Okay, hi. I'm really excited to be here. My quick little spiel is I started off as a customer support agent, part-time customer support agent for Ghost Lifestyle Energy Supplements, and fell in love with CX. I actually didn't think that I would even like it. I almost said no to the job, and I fell in love with it. Love helping customers, love solving issues. And now I have a CX and retention agency where we help lots of different brands. And I came to events like this, and they actually changed my life. I told Roman that. I almost cried telling him that because I got to connect with others and just learn and grow. And so it's really cool to be able to lead a panel with some really cool CX people. So I'm going to welcome to the stage. We've got Max from Tommy John. Is he here? There he is. Ren from Tushy. Tamanna from Triple Whale. And Armin from Talent Pop. And I'm going to let them come up here.
Hey everybody, very excited to be here. My name is Max. I'm the Customer Experience Director at Tommy John, which is a premium men's and women's underwear company. We have apparel as well, sleepwear, loungewear. I've been with the company for over 10 years, which I realize is somewhat rare nowadays. But I've been there for a reason, and I think a lot of that reason is specifically the culture of the company as a whole, but also the culture that we've created on my team.
Hi everyone, I'm Ren. I work at Tushy. I'm the Senior Director of Customer Experience. I've been there just over 5 years, lived through the last shit show of COVID, and here we are again. So excited to share some tactics. We are a modern bathroom company revolutionizing the American bathroom with bidets. That was our hero product, and since then we've done all sorts of things to improve your bathroom experience, including bamboo toilet paper, bathroom scents, our pooping stools. We want you to have the greatest butt and gut health and beyond. So excited to share.
Beautiful. My name is Armani Taheri. I am one of the co-founders of Talent Pop. We are a customer service management agency that supports the e-commerce space. We've been at it for 5 years or so. I came from an e-commerce background. Just a couple blocks away from here, we started a face mask company called Wear the Shield. And because of the hyper growth that we experienced with that company, came the need for CX. We ultimately created a solution for ourselves, and it kind of birthed the idea of being able to provide that solution to the e-commerce brands that we support today. Many of you guys are in this room, so excited to be part of this panel.
Hey guys, I'm Tamanna Bawa. I'm one of the tech partner managers at Triple Whale, and I've been with the company since September of last year, so just about 9 months. At Triple Whale, we are the agent-powered analytics and intelligence platform for over 30,000 plus Shopify Plus, BigCommerce and WooCommerce brands. And yeah, really excited to be here today. This is actually the first panel I've ever been on, so
welcome.
Yeah, but what a great panel to be with.
Yes, I'm so excited I chat with this group about CX stuff so much, so this is just like a dream. So, Tamanna, actually, talking about data, what are some key CX metrics that you see CX leaders wanting, or what do you suggest that they look at that they can pull from tools like yours?
Yeah, good question. So, I think customer service done right, it's actually a great source of revenue. And just looking at it further, if you can actually segment your customers, if you can look at their purchase history, their behavior, etc., then you can actually cater a more personalized experience. And we all know personalization, especially in an industry right now where margins are so thin and the cost of everything is so high, these little incremental gains that you get from personalization or from making the shopping experience even better, that's sort of the difference between the companies that are thriving and the ones that are just surviving, right? So, looking at things like that, I think that it's very, very important.
Very cool. Yeah, we're big components of that. And speaking of turning conversations into revenue through CX, Ren, you have lots of scrappy, fun things, and Max, I think you do too. So I'd love to hear some ways that you help your CX teams sell, but not in a pushy way, and just like understanding how to not just have it as a cost center. What are some scrappy hacks that you've used in the past to do this?
So we tend to be very scrappy. That's a word we throw around a lot. And the biggest barrier to purchase for us is cultural understanding, right? Bidets, most people don't even know how to say the word. So until COVID hit with the toilet paper crisis of 2020, in America, North America in general, this was not the norm. So it's not just about buying a product, it's like, why do I even need this? And it's also a DIY project. So one of the things we knew was happening was people would be maybe encouraged to buy it, they would buy it, and then it would end up in the box, under their bed, in a closet. They wouldn't actually, they'd have this peak of like, I heard about this cool thing, but why do I actually need this? I've lived for 65 years, it's not broken what I'm doing. And so we started 4 years ago a video install program. Our agents, our gurus, we call them because they're poop gurus, would literally get on a Google Hangout with our customers in their bathroom and walk them through install. Not because it's difficult, it's very easy. It literally takes like 10 minutes on a standard toilet, but this was the encouragement they needed to change culture. And so it wasn't about the actual install process. It was like encouragement of like, go girl, you got this, and you would be in people's bathrooms walking them through. I was on a call once for an hour with a customer, literally looking up her shorts, and I was like, this is totally awkward. Her desktop, her laptop is there. But throughout this, she could follow the instruction manual, but in this interaction, her cat wandered in and she talked about how she lost her mom and like we're trapped in COVID. And it was like, oh, I have a new friend. And I guarantee she talked about that experience with everyone she knew because it was so unique compared to every other e-commerce experience that they'd had of like, and this was a free service. We offered this for free for years. And then about 9 months ago, a year ago, we leveraged this into a paid service that is offered on checkout and has a slick PDP now. We currently charge $15 for it. You will literally be talking to one of our gurus. You schedule a call, and it's all built through like Calendly and Typeform and all of these really cost-effective or free tools. And the brand experience that they're getting, like the LTV of these customers and the repeat purchasing compared to people that just buy and maybe have a perfect install experience is wildly higher. And they're talking about it all the time. And like, it's through these connections, right? Your toddler wanders in, it's like, oh, and this is, if you want to make sure it's child-proof, this is how you would do it. And I think it's thinking about what are the barriers that you believe for your audience and how can you make it easier, but understanding that every touch point you have with your customer is super valuable. And when they're asking for help and you give that, like, these are low cost compared to your CAC. It's costing $50 to $150 to acquire your customer. What's your labor hour cost? And even if you're dedicating a whole hour to a customer, it's probably a quarter of what you're paying for the ad they clicked on. And that will be super memorable.
I love that. And there's two things there too. I've seen these onboarding calls, that's what I like to call them, where it's like you're connecting with customers just like you are, and hopefully you they like your personality, and you connect with them outside of text. And I have seen that you're doing video, but phone calls even. Yeah. And I always suggest too that like if you wonder if this is worth it or not, because sometimes I'm sure there's people in the room that like your CX team is already like maybe they don't have time for this, or you're like, what else should they do with their time? So Ren and I have always talked about like what to do when there's nothing to do. And I think projects like this and testing are so like not easy, but they're so effective to do if there's nothing to do. And it's amazing. You'll see if you pull like the lifetime value of the customers that you do an onboarding call compared to non. It's like you said, it's amazing. So really, really great. So Max, do you have any fun tips for us for scrappy tricks in the CX world?
Yes, I would say the first one being very basic. Ensure that your agents are well equipped with product knowledge. They aren't AI agent themselves, and they need to be able to speak to the product well with our customers. we have a lot of people come to the site. There's 5 different fabrics for men's underwear, a little bit less for women's, but a lot of people come to the site. They're not quite sure what is best for them or when they should wear it. Can I wear this to the gym? Is this a more delicate fabric? So ensuring that they are fully equipped with that knowledge is very important. That involves us working closely with our cross-functional partners on merchandising team, design, making sure they're prepared as we have a new product launch coming up, sending them product so they could kind of try it out for themselves, give that firsthand, testimonial. So that's very important for us. And then I would say also, when it comes to actually talking with the customers, ensuring, that they always feel that they can bend the rules a little bit, and that's more a retention side of it, but I think that's worth talking about as well. So, we have a best pair guarantee. That means if you purchase a pair of underwear from us, socks, undershirt, or a bra, you could wear it and we'll replace it or refund it. If you're not happy with it, we obviously always push to replace it to try to get them into something that'll work better for them. We rely on our agents a lot to make those recommendations. We have people calling that just want a refund, and a lot of the time we are able to get them to try Second Skin over Cool Cotton. So I think that is very important. Ensuring that they know that they can bend the rules. We don't have, really strict policies that we are enforcing. We want them to use their best judgment. It gives them confidence in themselves to know that we trust them to do that. And that's ultimately going to, keep our customers happy. And, it's not worth, losing a customer, a first-time customer, because maybe we aren't going to extend that guarantee to a second pair when, they purchase 5 pairs and, they aren't happy with 2 of them. So I think that's just very important to keep in mind.
Really underestimated. If your CX team hasn't gotten the product, send it to them right now on your phone, on your Shopify app.
You wouldn't believe how many companies I've been in touch with their support, and it's a very simple kind of request that I have. It's an honest mistake. Maybe I forgot to apply a discount code. It does happen once in a while. And, some have been very strict. No, I'm not, they won't apply the code for me because, I could potentially use that on a future purchase. Okay, well, so what? This is like splitting hairs and not worth it if it means now that I have a bad taste in my mouth about that company, so.
Yeah. No, so true. And Ren and Max, both of you guys both use a combination of onshore and offshore, near shore, right? So, Armand, how do you train your teams? Because you're all outsourced BPO, right? How do you train them to naturally turn conversations into revenue drivers without being too pushy?
I think every brand is different, and you have to tailor fit the training approach to the brand that the agents are working for. So it really comes down to understanding, the tone of voice, being able to understand the product knowledge, as you kind of alluded to earlier, and then giving them the opportunity to kind of crawl before they walk, before they run. So role playing is very, very important before they jump into live conversations or getting on the phone. Get them an opportunity to role play with others around them. One thing that's a little bit more scrappy and a little bit new age is leveraging AI to do some of the role playing. So what we're playing around with at Talent Pop is simulation-based exercises. So being able to go through a live chat experience and training, the agents on how to handle pre-sales related questions, post-sale related upsell conversations. I think being able to use some of this technology that is in our fingertips is really, really important. And as CX leaders, many of you guys are in this room, I think being able to have a pulse on what is available. There's tools like Replit, Lovable that you can create software using prompts. And I highly recommend, if you guys want to build these little tools that can do a lot of meaningful things, really stay on the cutting edge of what's happening in AI, and ultimately being able to get that in front of your customer service agents is going to get them to feel comfortable where they're not feeling like they're being monitored and judged by someone else. They can actually just interact with the AI, and ultimately that level of confidence and consistency will get them excited and confident enough to jump on the phones, jump on those live chat conversations.
That's such a great point because I think that role playing is so like valuable, but it's so hard to do at first. It's so cringy, you know, like we're gonna get on, you know. But so that's such a good idea to use AI, at least even just for like the initial, because no one like really wants to on their first day start role playing with like the founder of the company to sell. You know, it's hard, and I've seen it done before, but that's a really, really great point. Do you, and Tamanna, maybe you have some advice for this too, but when you're doing these exercises and you're focusing on helping your teams drive revenue, are there any like specific ways of tracking? Do you create different Excel sheets? Do you use tools? Like, what do you guys use to track the revenue for these agents to see like, are they at an acceptable level? Should they try harder? Should I do more training? Do you guys have any tips for that reporting side?
I can maybe take this one. So I work at Triple Whale, and I think a lot of people that are spending money on ad platforms and email and SMS and all sorts of different things. Like, instead of having a bunch of different tabs open to actually look at all of these different platforms, you have one source of truth that can gather all of that data, and then you can analyze it. But not just having that data is enough. You actually have to have, you have to know what to do with it next, and that's really where agents come in. And I know agents has come up a lot in the conversations here at this conference, but there's a reason for it, right? We're spending hours and hours and hours on manual tasks when agents can give you back that time. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of conversation around this revenue driving the AI agents, and then also we've talked too more about phones coming back into everything. We used to all like hide our phone number, but I do think through your onboarding conversation, and you looked like excited about this phone? No?
Love phone.
Yeah, so if you want to speak on that, I love phone too, and I actually used to be a phone hater because it's just didn't seem very like efficient. But phones, I think, are such a good way to connect with your customers. Have you seen this in your teams?
Yeah, I mean, some brands really lean more into phone than others. I think, it really comes down to kind of taking a step back, mastering one channel at a time, not necessarily being omnipresent from day one. So get the basics, establish your email, establish your live chat, and then phone channels is obviously a more intimate way to connect with customers. So being able to offer that channel, even if it's on a limited basis, once you have the other channels established, is a great starting point. You don't need to have 24/7 support handling phone calls. When you have, a lot of the capabilities with AI, you can definitely tap into the 24/7 support. But if you want to have those intimate human connections, I believe just kind of tasting it and having limited hours to start is a great place. And a lot of brands that are here are using phone support. Jackson is one of our clients, and they've done a great job of leaning into phone support, and they use it from the pre-purchase process, being able to have conversations around their men's jewelry types of products. They use it for post-purchase, being able to see if there's an opportunity to convert a first-time customer to a repeat customer, upsell, cross-sell opportunities. It's a lot easier to do those types of conversations on the phone, and I think it takes a lot of training and upskilling and time that CX leaders do need to put in. It's not the expectation that someone is going to be able to be a master of sales from day one. You need to really lean into the education and the upskilling of your team in order to really drive those revenue opportunities.
I love that. And I've seen a couple tools be really, really helpful for this. First, Gorgias Voice has improved tremendously from, I used to not use Gorgias Voice because it didn't have like as many tools and everything, but it's improved tremendously. But then also, and we were talking about this, Ren, one of the things for what to do when there's nothing to do, and your team does some phone calls, right?
Yeah, and I learned this from you. So when you can automate like the baby shit, right? Nobody needs to answer 1,000 Wizmos in a day, but you can do really creative things like you can look at your abandoned cart queue in Shopify, and you probably have the phone number for most of those people. And I can probably guarantee that none of them are going to answer, and it's going to say spam. So you can just, if you get to talk to them, even better. But you can call and be like, hey, this is Ren. I'm calling from Tushy, the bidet company. Saw you were checking out bidets. Would love to help you pick the perfect one for your bathroom. And that will cut through all the noise. You can send 100 emails, but like, whose personal inbox? You guys reading all those marketing emails you're getting? You're probably getting around 150 a day, but you're gonna listen to your voicemail or you're gonna answer the phone and be like, holy shit, this company just called me. And this is what, if you have the manpower, because you're automating other things, you can go to. And again, people have fear of phone, but what I told, it can cut through the noise in major ways. The other guidance I give my team is like, if you're on the third email with someone and they're still not getting it, just call them. It'll take you 2 minutes on the phone, what could potentially take 15 back and forth emails and waiting for them. Like, we are yearning for human connection, and that's a really easy way to achieve it. And any dissent or like rage that you're feeling through email, people will tell you terrible things via text, email. They will not tell that to your face or on the phone. They'll probably apologize for the rude email they sent. And this is like, we're in a world right now where like the more we can imbue true, genuine human connection, like that will also convert. And it's like, if you love your customers more, they will love you back. And like, it's very hippy dippy, and that's kind of my MO, but like, I am a #1 believer in this. Like, connect with your audience in a genuine way, and it will convert and it will drive to your bottom line.
I completely agree with that, and just wanted to add, phone is coming back, and I think that you can de-escalate a very difficult call much faster than you can an email or chat. I can't tell you how many calls we've listened to or been on where by the end of the call, it is the customer apologizing for how they started the call. So that's always nice to hear. But also, just going back to the question, Zoe, I would say also, first of all, this is a timely place to be right now, because we just went live with Gorgias about 3 weeks ago. We're using Gorgias Voice, and tracking revenue and conversion has been amazing. So that's great. We're really using it, or we plan to use it as a way to, you could see by agent, what the conversion rate is. So really diving in and seeing what Zoe is doing really well, and then using that as a way to kind of, teach the rest of the team. So.
Love that.
Yeah.
There's, before I let you guys, I think we're right at time, but once you start using your phones, people start calling, and then so you do have to staff for it. And I love that you said you need to master the other channels, and you can't just start throwing all these channels when one hasn't been under control yet. So 2 tools on top of Gorgias Voice that I like to use is FlipCX, which helps with automating some of the things, just like our AI, but through phone. Amazing tool. And then Conzio.io, I think it is. They actually help with sales, and it integrates with your Shopify, so you can create Shopify and Klaviyo, so you can create segments of different customers. Like I know you guys were talking about, you call your customers, or were you calling or reaching out to your customers who haven't purchased in whatever 3 months? You can put those into a segment on Klaviyo, and then bring that into Conzio, and then have just a queue. And they do things like they're working on, I think it might be live already, but like voicemail drops. So instead of, you could record your voice and call all those customers and just do a voicemail drop, because you know that a lot of them aren't going to answer on the first time, and maybe they'll call back. So really, really great tools out there now. Love that you guys are thinking about leaning into it and using it. But thank you guys so much. This was such a great panel. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll give it back to, who am I giving this back to? Chris.
Amen, Chris.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.